Zara stood on the high balcony of her palace, her pale green skin glowing in the soft light of twin moons. She looked out at the endless fields of silver grass that swayed like waves below. Tonight had been calm, but her thoughts were far from peace. She felt a strange ache in her body she could not name. It had begun 2 days ago, right after the human visitor had left her chambers. Jack Miller had arrived alone, with no escort from Earth's government. He stood with a quiet confidence that both intrigued and angered her courtiers. She remembered his warm brown eyes, the way he smiled when he saw the turquoise markings on her throat. She had been warned. Humans were unpredictable. Yet when he spoke, his voice was soft and calm, and she found herself letting her guard down. They had shared a meal under a chandelier of glowing crystals. He told her about Earth's oceans and forests. She told him about the silver grass and the underground rivers of her home planet. He laughed when a tiny bird-like creature landed on his shoulder. She laughed too, though she tried to hide it. No queen should laugh like a child, but she did. Later, when the palace was quiet, he came to her private garden. He knelt by the water lily and held her hand. She let him. They spoke in low tones, learning each other's words. When he touched her face, her heart pounded. He kissed her gently. It was unexpected. After that night, Jack left at dawn. He promised to return, but she knew nothing of Earth's ships or plans. She was queen of a proud and ancient race. She had survived wars and rebellions. She had never felt so vulnerable. Now she carried his child. The ache in her belly was the only proof she needed. Her court physicians confirmed it. They spoke in hushed voices and bowed their heads. She ordered them out. This was not to be shared until she chose. She was queen, not a vessel to gossip, but rumors spread fast. The court buzzed with questions she refused to answer. Many nobles whispered that she had been betrayed. Others claimed she had betrayed her people. They met in shadowed halls to decide whether to remove her from power. Zara felt their eyes on her as she walked through the corridors. She held her chin high. She would not show fear. Late that night, she walked again to the balcony. The air was cool, and a breeze carried the scent of night blossoms. She placed a hand on her rounded belly. The ache had grown stronger. She closed her eyes. A memory rose, Jack's gentle voice saying, "You are more beautiful than any star." Her mind snapped back to the present. She was queen, and she could not afford sentiment. She had to protect her people. She turned away and headed back inside. In the central hall, Senna, her chief advisor, waited by a tall pillar. Senna was slim and sharp-eyed, with silver hair that matched the palace walls. She knelt as Zara approached. "My queen," Senna said softly, "your people grow uneasy. They fear for our future." Zara's eyes flashed. "Let them fear. They will obey me." Senna bowed her head. "They obey now, but loyalties shift. Some even speak of a rival claimant to the throne." Zara's heart tightened. A rival. She could not let this child become a weapon against her reign. She took a breath. "Tell the nobles that I will hold public council at dawn. I will answer their questions myself." Senna hesitated. "They may test you, my queen." Zara's lips curved in a small smile. "Let them try. I am their queen, and I will not fall." Senna left, and Zara stood alone. The ache in her belly reminded her that her real test had only just begun. She straightened her shoulders and walked toward her private chambers. When the chamber doors closed behind her, she allowed herself a moment of weakness. She pressed her hands to her stomach and closed her eyes. Fear crept in, but she pushed it away. She was Zara, queen of the Valoran Empire, and she would face whatever came. Morning light found her in the council chamber. Rows of nobles sat in silence as she entered. She wore a simple gown of pale blue that matched her eyes. She did not hide her condition. Instead, she stood tall and met the gaze of every face before her. "My lords and ladies," she began, her voice steady, "I understand you have concerns. You will have answers." A noble stood. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with dark hair and a stern expression. Your Majesty, how can we trust a child by a human male? Our history with humans is mixed at best. Zara met his gaze without flinching. I swear on my crown that this child will be raised by Valoran tutors under our laws and traditions. It will be loyal to our empire. A murmur ran through the chamber. Another noble rose. What of Earth's ambitions? Will this not give them power over us? Zara's eyes narrowed. I am not a fool. I will negotiate treaties in our favor. And if Earth's rulers try to exploit this, they will find themselves facing the full might of the Valoran fleet. Silence fell. Then the first noble bowed. One by one, the nobles dropped their heads. The council had spoken. Zara allowed herself a small sense of triumph. She had weathered the first storm. Yet as the chamber emptied, she felt the ache in her belly more sharply. Outside, the silver grass fields lay still. Above them, twin moons shone. Her child's home was both here and far away. She took a steadying breath. The real journey had just begun. Zara woke before dawn, her mind restless. She rose and walked to the small window in her chamber. The silver grass below was covered in mist. She placed a hand on her belly and felt a gentle flutter. Her child was growing inside her. She closed her eyes and thought of Jack. He had promised to return, but no ship had come from Earth. She wondered if he had forgotten her promise or if Earth's rulers had stopped him. After breakfast, Senna found Zara in the garden. Dewy petals shone like jewels. Senna carried a data slate. Your Majesty, we have a message from Earth, she said. Zara's heart skipped. Show me, she replied. Senna opened the slate. A video began to play on its surface. A man in a dark uniform stood at a lectern. His voice was firm. Queen Zara of Valora, he began. I am Envoy David, Cole from Earth's Council. We acknowledge your child with human Jack Miller. We seek to discuss terms that protect both our peoples. The message ended. Zara felt a mix of relief and doubt. She trusted Jack, but she did not know Earth's leaders. She asked Senna, how? Many ships travel with this envoy? Senna checked. 2 small cruisers, unarmed, she said. Zara considered her options. If she refused, Earth might send more force. If she agreed, they might gain influence over her empire. She drew a steady breath. Prepare a vessel to meet them at the edge of our space, she ordered. I will go myself, Senna bowed. At once, my queen. Later, Zara donned a simple tunic and cloak. She concealed her condition under loose folds of fabric. Senna joined her on the slipstream shuttle. They rose through the clouds so quickly that the palace shrank below. Zara watched as mountains, rivers, and forests passed in minutes. She felt both excitement and dread. The cruiser held David Cole and 3 aides. Cole stepped forward when Zara entered. His suit was dark blue. He offered her a small device glowing with pale light. Welcome, Queen Zara, he said. His tone was polite. Earth honors your willingness to meet. Zara nodded. I thank you for coming. She gestured to the viewport. This is my world. Cole looked out. It is beautiful. They spoke in the shuttle's conference room. Cole spoke first. We respect your empire's laws. We want an alliance that respects your sovereignty. We also ask for visitation rights to see the child. Zara tightened her lips. She glanced at Senna. Senna gave a slight nod. Zara replied, the child is under Valoran protection. You may visit with my permission after the birth. Until then, no. Cole hesitated, then inclined his head. We accept your terms. Over the next hour, they discussed trade routes, cultural exchange, and military cooperation. Zara showed maps of silver grass fields and subterranean rivers. Cole spoke of Earth's oceans and sky cities. They found common ground in science and art. Zara felt respect grow between them. Still, she remained cautious. As the meeting ended, Cole rose. Queen Zara, I hope this is the start of a lasting friendship. He bowed. Zara inclined her head. May it be so. She led him to the airlock that led back to the cruisers. Outside, two sleek ships gleamed. Cole paused. Jack Miller asked me to bring this, he said, handing Zara a small sealed container. Zara's hands trembled as she opened it. Inside lay a simple necklace of polished blue stone. She recognized Jack's handwriting on a note. For you, my queen, until I return. Tears filled Zara's eyes. She touched the necklace and felt warmth. Cole watched quietly. Zara steadied herself and closed the container. Thank you, she said softly. Cole bowed again and returned to his ship. Zara and Senna watched the cruisers withdraw into space. Once back in her shuttle, Zara held the necklace close. She felt hope. Jack had not forgotten her. Earth's rulers had come in peace. Still, danger lingered in politics and rumors. She looked down at her rounded belly and thought, soon she would meet her child. She would protect this life in her. Empire. The shuttle descended through clouds, and the palace lights shimmered below. Zara's heart was heavy, yet bright. She would face whatever came. Zara woke to a soft tapping at her door. She took a moment to steady herself before rising. The morning light was faint, but already warm. The ache in her belly had grown overnight. She pressed a hand to her stomach and felt the life within. She smiled, then opened the door. Senna waited with two attendants carrying a low table. On it lay bowls of fresh fruit, warm bread, and clear broth. Zara nodded her thanks and sat. The attendants left quietly, and Senna sat opposite her. Your Majesty, Senna said, there is news from the southern provinces. They say unrest grows among the farmers. Zara reached for a piece of melon. Its sweetness woke her senses. What do they want? She asked, biting gently. They ask for more pipelines to bring water during dry seasons. They also fear armies from the outer rim might raid their supplies. Zara considered. The silver grass fields depended on proper irrigation, but she could not send troops too far. 2. Stretch her fleet now could invite challenge. She touched her belly again. She would need strong support at home if war came. Prepare a message to the provincial governor, Zara said after a moment. Tell him I will meet his delegation at the Riverbank Conference. I will listen to their needs and promise resources. Reassure them that the Empire stands with them. Senna nodded and rose. I will see to it at once. Once alone, Zara finished her meal and stood. She dressed in a simple gown that allowed room for her growing form. She let her hair fall loose, the soft waves brushing her shoulders. She paused before a mirror. Her pale green skin and turquoise markings were unhidden, her condition clear. She straightened her shoulders and left the room. The conference took place by the river that ran beneath the palace walls. The sun shone on its rolling waters. Farmers in plain tunics stood with the governor, a tall man named Grant Harris. They wore worried expressions. When Zara approached, they bowed deeply. Queen Zara, Grant said, stepping forward. He spoke firmly but respectfully. We are honored. Water levels have fallen, and crops suffer. The people fear famine. Zara lifted her chin. I will not let my people starve. I promise aid. She turned to one of her advisors, who carried a data slate. Draw up new water contracts. Allocate extra pipeline crews and rain-catch basins. Begin next week. The farmers murmured approval. One woman in simple clothing stepped forward. Her face was lined with work and worry. Your Majesty, will the water reach the fields in time? The rains are weak this season. Zara met her gaze. We will send engineers now. If the rains fail, we will drain reservoirs and share what we have. No one will go without. She paused. And I will send a patrol of guards to protect the pipelines. Anyone who trespasses will answer to me. The woman's eyes filled with hope. Thank you, my queen. Zara nodded. You have my word. As the delegation dispersed, Zara walked back toward the palace. She felt relief, but no triumph. Her people's needs were many, and her time was short. She allowed herself a brief smile, thinking of the child she carried. Soon, she would give birth. Soon, she would be both queen and mother. Inside the palace, the air was cool. Zara passed through empty halls until she reached her private chambers. She paused at the door when she heard voices, a man's voice arguing with Senna. She recognized the tone. It was David Cole. She slipped inside and paused to listen. Cole spoke softly but urgently. I have the best interests of both worlds at heart. The child binds us. We must ensure its safety. Senna's answer was firm. Queen Zara speaks for the Valoran Empire. Until birth, no one sees the child but her. After birth, visitation comes with conditions. Cole ran a hand through his hair. Valorans must trust Earth. This child is hope for unity. We cannot close ourselves off. Senna's eyes flashed. This is your hope, not ours. You will respect our laws. Zara cleared her throat. Both turned. Cole bowed. Your Majesty. Zara stepped forward, touching Cole's sleeve lightly. You came to me in peace. I honor that. But you must respect my rule and my people. Cole looked into her eyes. I do? Zara nodded and turned to Senna. Thank you for guarding our interests. Senna inclined her head. Always, my queen. Cole stood a moment, then withdrew. Zara watched him go. When he left, she crossed to a carving table and settled into a chair. She pulled out her data slate and opened a document. It was a letter from Jack Miller. His handwriting curved neatly across the page. Zara, it read, I am delayed but not deterred. I work to secure approval from Earth's Council. I will come to you soon. Keep this close to your heart, as I hold you close to mine. Jack. Zara's eyes stung. Jack's promise shone, brighter than any star. She folded the letter and placed it in a small wooden box. Beside it, she placed a blue stone necklace. She closed the box and tucked it into a drawer. Later, as twilight fell, Zara sat by her private balcony. The twin moons rose and the silver grass fields glowed. She rubbed her belly and whispered. Soon, fear and hope warred inside her. But she would face them both. She was queen and she was mother. And nothing would stop her from protecting her child and her empire. Zara woke to a distant rumble beneath the palace. She sat up and pressed her hand to her belly. The child inside moved, and she felt a thrill. The rumble came again. She rose and moved to the balcony. Below, a fleet of small ships hovered over. The silver grass fields. They carried the emblem of a rival noble house. Worry tightened her chest. Senna joined her quietly. There is trouble, Senna said. House Dervin claims the child is an abomination. They demand custody for safekeeping. Zara's heart pounded. Dervin had always eyed the throne. Now they saw her unborn child as a chance to seize. Power. Zara nodded. Prepare my guard. I will meet their envoy. Senna hesitated. The envoy is led by Dervin's son, Kellen. Zara closed her eyes. Kellen Dervin had once challenged her at a council meeting. He was cunning and cruel. She would not back down. She squared her shoulders. Then I will meet him. Moments later, Zara descended to the great lawn. She wore a simple white robe that contrasted with her green skin. Crowds of palace servants and soldiers watched as Kellen stepped forward. From his ship, he was tall and lean, with pale hair and dark eyes. He bowed too low, mocking her. Queen Zara, he said with a false smile. House Dervin comes to protect the empire from your reckless ties. Zara met his gaze. You threaten the peace of the empire. She raised her voice so all could hear. I am not reckless. I act for our people and for my child. Your house has no claim here. Soldiers formed a line behind her, shields glinting. Kellen's smile faded. Do not make this a battle. Give us the child, and I will leave your homes and fields in peace. Zara felt anger rise. She stepped forward. You would steal an innocent life to serve your ambition? Her voice was calm but fierce. You threaten war. Behind Kellen, His aide stiffened. Kellen hesitated, then turned. "This is not over," he signaled to his ships. They retreated slowly. Zara watched them go. Relief and fear mixed within her. She turned to Senna. "Send a message to House Durvan. Any force here will answer with fire." Senna bowed and hurried away. Zara returned to her chambers, her legs heavy from the morning's confrontation. She sank onto a low divan and closed her eyes. The ache in her belly felt stronger now. She breathed deeply. Her child's life and her empire depended on her strength. Later, she went to the meditation hall. Sunlight filtered through colored glass, painting patterns on the floor. She knelt on a cushion and closed her eyes. The hall was silent, except for her breathing. Memories of her mother, the former queen, surfaced. Her mother had taught her to be both ruler and mother. Zara pressed her hands to the carved wood of the cushion. She whispered, "Guide me." She stayed in silence until dusk. Then she rose and walked back to her private quarters. A slim figure waited there. It was David Cole. He knelt as she entered. "Queen Zara," he said, voice low. "I have news from Earth." Zara gestured for him to stand. She noticed worry in his eyes. "What did they say?" she asked. Cole took a breath. "The council debates our treaty. Some fear your empire's power. They speak of sending a fleet." Zara felt dread. A war between Earth and Velora could destroy both worlds. She hid the tremor in her voice. "And Jack?" she asked softly. Cole's gaze softened. He pleads for patience. He says obstacles grow, but he works to overcome them. He held out a small hollow device. He activated it. Jack's face appeared, his eyes earnest. "Zara, I will come. Hold strong. Our child is hope for all. Trust me." The image faded. Zara closed her eyes and nodded. Cole watched her. She opened her eyes with resolve. "Thank you," she said. "You may go." Cole bowed and left. Zara sat by her window, looking at the night sky. Twin moons shone above, silver. Grass waving below. She whispered to the stars, "Keep us safe." That night, she dreamed of a child with her eyes and his smile. She awoke with hope. The morning brought a new challenge. Reports of rioting at the southern border. Pirates from the Outer Rim had attacked caravans. Food and medicine were lost. Zara dressed quickly and summoned Senna. "We must act," she said. "Send patrols to drive pirates away. Send supplies to the villages. And I will visit the border myself." Senna looked at her with concern. "It is risky in your condition." Zara met her gaze. "I will not hide while my people suffer. Prepare the convoy." As the sun rose, Zara led a caravan of ships to the southern border. Her guard marched alongside, shields raised. Villagers gathered on dusty roads, watching with awe as their queen passed. Some cried out words of thanks. She touched her belly and smiled. Her child's strength was her own. At the border, she found burned wagons and frightened families. She knelt by a wounded merchant. "You are safe now," she said. Soldiers helped rebuild the wagons and treat the wounded. Zara climbed onto a fallen wagon and addressed the crowd. "I am here for you," she said. "We will rebuild your homes and protect your fields." A cheer rose from the villagers. Hope glimmered in their eyes. Zara felt pride and exhaustion. She would rest soon, but for now she stood strong. That evening, as she returned to the palace, her body ached. She lay in bed and closed her eyes. Tomorrow would bring more trials. But she would face them all. She was queen, and soon she would be mother. Her empire and her child depended on her courage, and she would not fail. Zara woke before sunrise, her body heavy with the child she carried. She pressed a hand to her belly and felt a gentle kick. A smile touched her lips. As she dressed in loose robes, she thought of how close her child would be to the world soon. Still, danger lingered in every corner of the palace. Later that morning, she held a small reception for visiting merchants. Stalls of bright cloth and fragrant spices lined the hall. Children reached out to touch her sleeve. She knelt to greet each one, her heart light. When a merchant from the Eastern Isles offered her a cup of spiced tea, she accepted gratefully. The warmth soothed her tired limbs. Without warning, a sharp cry rang out. Guards rushed forward as a man stumbled backward, clutching his side. Zara stood quickly. Senna was at her elbow in an instant. "My queen?" "Stay close," Senna whispered. The crowd panicked, voices rising in fear. Zara held up a steady hand. "Please stand back," she said calmly. A wounded guard fell at her feet. His tunic was stained with dark blood. Zara knelt beside him and touched his brow. "You will live," she said softly, though her heart pounded. Nearby, a servant pointed toward a side door. A cloaked figure slipped away. Zara realized it was an attack. Someone had tried to kill her. She rose, determination in her eyes. "Seal the hall," she ordered. Guards barred every exit. Senna and two veteran captains formed a circle around Zara and the wounded man. Senna spoke low to one captain. "Find the traitor." The captain dashed away. As the halls cleared of frightened merchants, Zara knelt again by the guard. She placed a hand on his chest. He coughed and opened his eyes, seeing her face. Relief flickered in his gaze. "Queen," he whispered. She clasped his hand. "Rest now," she said. When the guard was carried away, Zara stood. Senna led her to a private chamber. The walls were cool stone. Servants brought water and cloths to tend her. Zara let them work in silence. Her thoughts raced. Who had turned against her? Was it House Durbin or someone else hungry for power? After a moment, Senna bowed. "We have news. Lord Miles Conrad has confessed." Zara frowned. Miles Conrad was a minor noble, known for his greed. "He claims he acted alone," Senna continued. "But I suspect others are involved." Zara closed her eyes. Betrayal ran deep in the palace. She drew a steady breath. "Send for the Council of Lords," she said. "I will speak to them tonight." Senna hesitated. "In your condition?" Zara placed a hand on her belly. "I must show strength." Senna inclined her head and hurried away. That evening, the Grand Council gathered in the high chamber. Tall pillars rose to a vaulted ceiling. Candles flickered on every surface. Lords and ladies took their seats, their faces wary. Zara entered, leaning on a carved wooden staff for support. She wore a pale blue gown that hid her shape, but not her authority. She moved to the dais and raised her hand for silence. When the chamber stilled, she spoke clearly. "Tonight an assassin struck at my life. One guard bled for defending me." She paused. "Lord Conrad has confessed. Yet I believe he did not act alone." Murmurs spread through the room. One lord, a stout man with a hooked nose, stood. "Your Majesty, why blame others? The man is guilty." Zara met his gaze without flinching. "Fear and ambition drive traitors. We cannot be satisfied with one confession. We must uncover the root." She looked around the chamber. "I ask each of you, are you loyal to the throne and to the child I carry?" Silence followed. Then another noble, a woman with calm eyes, spoke. "We stand with you, Queen Zara." One by one, others voiced their loyalty. At last a hooked nose. Lord bowed. Zara inclined her head. "Thank you." As the council dispersed, Senna approached. "Some still question you. They speak of regency if the child comes." Zara's lips tightened. "I will not let this child be used as a pawn." She rested a hand on Senna's arm. "Prepare our strongest guard." Senna nodded. Back in her chambers, Zara sat by the window. The twin moons shone high above the silver grass fields. She touched her belly and whispered, "I will protect you." She thought of Jack and the journey he made for them. She wished he were here now. A knock sounded at her door. David. Cole entered, holding a small hollow pouch. "Queen Zara, forgive my intrusion." He bowed. She gestured to a chair. He sat and opened the pouch. A soft light glowed. Inside was a single blue flower from Earth's oceans. Cole placed it gently in her hand. Jack sent this, Cole said. He wishes to comfort you. Zara smelled its faint, sweet scent. Tears stung her eyes. She smiled. Thank you. Cole watched her. I will stay nearby until you are safe. Zara nodded. When Cole left, Zara closed the pouch and placed it on a side table. She lay back on her bed, exhaustion sweeping over her. Her belly ached. With the life inside, she closed her eyes and dreamed of peace for her child and her empire. She vowed that no darkness would harm them. She was their shield and their hope. Soon, the world would know that the Queen's strength was stronger than any threat. Zara woke with a start before dawn. Her breath came fast. She pressed a hand to her belly and felt a strong movement. The child stirred, reminding her that the time was near. She rose carefully and wrapped a shawl around her shoulders. The halls were silent as she made her way to the birthing chamber, prepared deep within the palace. Senna met her at the door, eyes gentle but urgent. Your Majesty, are you ready? Zara nodded, though her legs trembled. They entered a round room lit by pale lanterns. Cushions and blankets lay on low platforms. Herbal steam rose from a brazier in the corner. Zara sank onto a cushion as Senna and two midwives moved quietly around her, setting tools and soft water at her side. Outside the palace, the silver grass fields glowed under twin moons. Beyond them, David Cole stood on the observation deck of his cruiser. His face was tense as he watched the palace lights. He had sent word to Jack Miller, calling him back from Earth's council. Soon, he hoped, Jack would come to stand with Zara at the moment of birth. Back in the chamber, Zara breathed deeply. Each breath eased the ache in her belly. Senna whispered encouragement. You are strong, my queen. You carry hope for two worlds. Zara closed her eyes and pictured Jack's face, his warm smile. That vision lent her courage. Suddenly, a distant alarm echoed through the palace. Heavy boots pounded on stone floors. Zara's midwife froze. What is that? Zara asked, her voice calm but urgent. Senna rose and hurried to the doorway. She returned with worry in her eyes. House Dervin attacks the palace gates. They claim to end this bloodline before birth. Zara's heart thundered, yet she sat upright. Then we will show them that life cannot be stolen. Senna sent messengers to recall the guards. The midwives stayed close, ready to assist. Zara leaned back, closing her eyes, focusing on her breathing. In the corridors, Kellen Dervin led a force of soldiers toward the central tower. He wore dark armor and carried a sword at his side. He boasted to his men that the queen would fall, leaving her child to him. The doors to the birthing chamber were locked from within, but he believed he could force them open. Inside, Zara felt. Pain tightened her body. She gasped as another contraction came. Senna held her hand. Stay with me, she murmured. The midwives prepared a warm cloth and soothing oil. Zara focused on each breath, counting slowly. Outside, David Cole watched as Dervin's ships closed in on the palace landing pads. He could not allow violence to harm Zara or the child. He barked orders into a comm device. Hold position. Do not fire unless they attack the palace. I will negotiate. Back in the chamber, Zara's labor intensified. She gripped the cushions, her face pale green in the lantern light. The midwives guided her breathing. Senna stayed at her side. Speaking softly, you are not alone. I am here with you. At the main gates, Kellen Dervin found them barred. He raised his voice. Queen Zara is weak. Open the doors in her name, or face the wrath of House Dervin. Soldiers outside clamored for battle. David Cole stepped between the guards and Dervin's men. He held his hands up. Lord Dervin, stand down. The Queen's child is not yours to claim. Kellen sneered. This child will be a symbol of your defeat. Cole replied firmly. Violence will only bring greater war. Retreat now. Kellen hesitated. Cannon lines of Dervin soldiers glared behind him. Then came the rumble of reinforced palace guards rushing toward the gates. Kellen's men faltered. In that moment, he saw no victory. "We will return," he vowed, and signaled his men to fall back. Inside the birthing chamber, Zara felt a final surge of pain. She called out softly, "It's time." The midwives moved to stand by. Zara gripped Senna's hand. "I am ready." With one last breath, she pushed. A cry filled the chamber. Zara's body trembled, then relaxed as the midwives wrapped a small bundle in cloth. Senna held the child gently, then brought the baby to Zara's arms. The queen looked down at the child's tiny face, pale green skin with faint turquoise marks on the forehead. Zara's eyes filled with tears. "It's a boy," Senna said softly. Zara touched his cheek. "My son." The baby let out another cry, and Zara pressed him to her heart. She felt his warmth and strength. Her exhaustion melted, replaced by joy and fierce love. In the hallway, David Cole entered as the doors opened. He rushed in when he saw Zara and the child. "Queen Zara," he whispered, "congratulations." Zara smiled and held the babe up for him to see. Cole knelt and bowed his head. "May he live and bring peace between our worlds." Zara rested back on her cushion, baby in her arms. Senna stood guard at the door, her silver hair catching the lantern light. Outside, palace bells rang, announcing the birth of the royal heir. The guards cheered and servants wept in happiness. Zara looked at David Cole. "Thank you for protecting us." Cole nodded. "It was my honor." Zara closed her eyes, feeling her heart swell. She whispered to her son, "You are hope." The palace, once threatened by war, now rang with new life. The empire would endure, for now it had a future in the arms of its queen and her child. Zara held her son close as dawn's first light filtered through the curtains. The palace was quiet now that the bells had fallen silent, but her heart was full. The baby's soft breaths warmed her chest. She smiled down at him, tracing the faint turquoise marks on his forehead. He was small but strong, and already he brought new life to her world. Senna quietly entered the chamber with a tray of warm broth and soft bread. Zara thanked her and accepted a cup. She took a gentle sip, feeling the warmth renew her. Senna bowed her head. "Your Majesty, the council awaits you in the Grand Hall. They wish to formalize the child's place in the line of succession." Zara nodded, placing her son in the soft cradle beside her bed. She dressed in a simple gown that allowed her to hold the baby easily. Senna helped her stand. Each step was slow but steady. At the doorway, David Cole stood waiting. He offered a respectful bow. "Queen," he said softly, "may I present our heir to the empire?" Zara smiled and took her son into her arms again. Cole stepped back and guided her down the corridor. As they walked, Zara felt the weight of her crown but also the warmth of her child. With each heartbeat, her resolve grew. She would protect him and her people, come what may. The grand hall was filled with nobles, advisors, and soldiers. At the center stood a long table with documents and quills. Grant Harris, the provincial governor, held a rolled parchment. When Zara and Cole entered, the chamber fell silent. Zara stepped forward, baby in arm, and laid a hand on the table. "My lords and ladies," she began, her voice calm and clear, "today we affirm that my son, born of two worlds, is heir to the Valoran throne. By this treaty, he will inherit our laws and our hopes." She unrolled the parchment. "Those who sign will stand with me and with Earth to build peace." One by one, the nobles approached. Each dipped a stylus into ink and signed their names. Their faces were proud and hopeful. When the last signature was added, the chamber erupted in soft applause. Zara allowed herself a small smile. She held her son up so all could see him. "May his life unite us." After the signing, Kellen Durbin was brought forward under guard. His hands were bound, but his expression was calm. Zara met his eyes from across the hall. She spoke gently but firmly. "Lord Durbin, you sought to steal an innocent life. You lead this empire now, exiled to the rim worlds. Harm no one, or you will answer to me." Kellen bowed deeply, his voice low. I accept my exile, Queen. The guards led him away, and the hall sighed with relief. Zara watched him go, then turned back to the gathered people. She felt strength and compassion in equal measure. Outside the palace, a great crowd had gathered. Mothers held children aloft. Warriors stood at attention, and merchants cheered. Over the silver grass fields, banners flew, some bright blue for Earth, others green for Velora. David Cole joined Zara on the balcony, and she offered him her son's small hand. Cole bowed and touched the baby's fingers with reverence. In the crowd, Jack Miller stepped into view. He wore a simple uniform and carried a small bouquet of white flowers from Earth's shorelines. When Zara saw him, tears filled her eyes. She gently lifted her son so Jack could see him. Jack's face lit with joy. He stepped forward, careful not to startle the baby, and offered the flowers. Zara handed the child to Jack. He held him with awe, the baby's tiny fingers curling around his own. "He is perfect," Jack whispered. Zara reached out and took Jack's hand. "Welcome home," she said softly. The crowd cheered again, louder this time. Later that evening, Zara, Jack, and their son stood before a simple altar in the palace courtyard. Senna, David Cole, and Grant Harris formed the circle around them. Zara spoke words of promise. "I name you Lysander, guardian of peace between our worlds." She touched the baby's brow with a small crystal. The crystal glowed faintly as if touched by moonlight. Jack lifted his son and spoke too. "May you grow strong and wise." He smiled at Zara, and she felt her heart swell. The night air was warm, and the twin moons shone overhead. The silver grass seemed to bow in a gentle breeze. In the days that followed, trade ships sailed between Velora and Earth's sky cities. Pirates and rebels heard of Lysander's birth and dared not strike. The southern provinces saw full rivers once more as new pipelines ran under the Queen's orders. Peace settled over the empire like soft light. Zara spent her days balancing her duties. She held council in the morning and rocked her son in the afternoon. Jack stood by her side, learning her languages and sharing his own. Senna and David Cole advised her, always respectful of her strength, and little Lysander grew, his laughter filling the halls. One night, Zara stood on the palace balcony, Lysander asleep in her arms. Jack stood beside her. She looked at her son and then at the stars. "He is our future," she said. Jack placed his hand on her shoulder. "And you are his anchor," Zara smiled, feeling at peace. She leaned her head against Jack's arm. The empire lay peaceful below, and two worlds stood united. Zara breathed in the cool night air and whispered, "We begin anew." And under the watchful eyes of twin moons, the queen's mate, and their son looked toward a bright tomorrow.